This video is very special because we're going to be talking about the misconceptions of Cinco de Mayo. I'm Andres Perez, an American videographer San Antonio of Mexican descent, or Mexican American, and there's something I've noticed. Cinco de Mayo is not widely celebrated in Mexico, but it is celebrated throughout the United States and even some parts of Canada. So why is that? Most people believe that Cinco de Mayo is Mexican Independence Day. However, Mexico declared their independence on September 16th, 1810, about 50 years prior. Some people are aware that Cinco de Mayo commemorates the unlikely defeat against the French army by the Mexican forces in the Battle of Puebla, May 5th, 1862. However, most assume that this battle signified Mexico's independence from France, when in reality this battle was insignificant in the overall war against the French, because a year later they returned to invade Mexico. So why is Cinco de Mayo so popular? Well, in order to understand that, first we must understand what's going on around the world during that time. In 1862, the American Civil War was taking place. And although it seemed like it was a national event, truly it was international because the whole world was watching. And both the North and the South were seeking aid from foreign countries, especially that of Britain and France. The French followed Britain's lead by declaring officially that they were neutral. You see, France had abolished slavery in all of its territories in 1848, roughly 20 years before. And the French people would not stand for a war involving slavery. The South believed that they were forming their own country, but first they had to prove it, either by defeating the North or to have an international power recognize them as their own country. Now, the French never officially recognized the Confederacy, but there were some French capitalists who assisted the South by providing loans, mostly because they were dependent on cotton. The Union blockade restricted the flow of cotton into other countries, so this forced some French manufacturers to lay off workers, which was severely hurting their business. Now, at the same time, Mexico was in financial trouble. President Juarez declared in 1861 that he was halting all payments for foreign debt. While Spain and England cut deals with Mexico, France had other plans. France wanted to improve their international power and set up a puppet government in Mexico. They believed since Abraham Lincoln was busy fighting the Civil War, the Americans couldn't stand in their way. And even better, now they can trade guns for the southern cotton. In 1862, the French army marched from the shores of Veracruz in order to capture the city of Mexico. Now at that time, the French were considered among the best in the world. See, they hadn't been defeated in almost 50 years, so they didn't expect to meet much resistance. Mexican President Juarez sent General Zaragoza, who was born in Texas, with a small volunteer force, which was almost entirely consisting of indigenous soldiers, to meet the French army at Puebla. On May 5th, or Cinco de Mayo, the French attacked from the north side of Puebla and were met with savage hand-to-hand combat by the Mexican force. Now, they believed that they would win, so they attacked again and then charged the third time. When the third charge failed, General Zaragoza unleashed his cavalry on the flank of the retreating army, pushing the French back, not to return for a whole nother year. Had the French taken over Mexico City that summer of 1862, we may be living in a completely different world. The French may have considered the Confederacy as a legitimate country and offered assistance to defeat the Union. Although the Battle of Puebla was ultimately insignificant in the war against France, it was significant to the Mexican people because it was their first great victory since their independence against Spain. But more importantly, it was significant to the world as we know it. It's believed that this year-long delay gave Abraham Lincoln enough time to win a decisive battle against the Confederacy before France could provide the South with more weapons and ammunition. So you see, even those who are not of Mexican descent have a reason to celebrate Cinco de Mayo. But there's more to it than the beer companies will have you think. There's absolutely nothing wrong with celebrating and having a good time. But I want you to ask yourself, what if the South had a stronger army? What if the Union had lost? And what if the brave Mexican at Puebla had not saved America? Viva Mexico y viva los Estados Unidos. Long live Mexico and long live the United States. Please, be sure to share this video.